There's so many different ways how to have a conversation that is meaningful. But I think the key element for me is, do you know why you're having this conversation and what's important? I think 90% of the success is really preparation. And then the proof is in the pudding and in the eating. But I think if you're prepping yourself with these very simple orientation questions, who am I talking to? Why am I having this conversation? What do I want to accomplish on a personal level, but also on a objective level?
ABBA Talks, Inspiration for a Sustainable and Fulfilling Life. Hello and welcome to our Art of Communication podcast series. In our today's conversation with our special guest Eva Wieprecht, you will discover how following the steps of a simple acronym can transform the way you approach conversations and create meaningful interactions in your professional and personal relationships. Enjoy.
So, Eva, you were mentioning in our last conversation the PLAN acronym. How about just taking the letters of the acronym and just mentioning a few words about each of them? So P was for purpose, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I actually learned this acronym from a great communicator who is the husband from Evie, who is really known as a strong communicator and was like an ex-CIA agent, and her husband, like Secret Service in the same realm of expertise. And through him, I learned about it. And it really fits my program. So I like that. And P stands for purpose. I usually open a question when I work with teams or leaders of teams. If they know this scene in Alice in Wonderland, I have two figures here. Here's Alice, and here's the curious and interesting cat of the movie or of the cartoon. And there's a significant moment where she's asking where to go next. I think there's a cross point and she's like, where should I go? And then the cat is asking, where do you want to go? What is your purpose or what is your intention? And she said, I don't know. And then he's like, then it doesn't matter where you're going. So for me, really, purpose is have a simple, clear idea. Why am I having this conversation? And when I work in the business field, I usually have a little list of, is it you just want to make a connection, like want to let people know that they're still on your radar, you're still connected with them, you value them, you see them as part of the team, you want to say hello, is it maybe their birthday, and you want to acknowledge that? Is it time to give feedback about what kind of expertise you value and what they need to improve, and do that in a certain way? Is your purpose to get to know somebody on a deeper personal level and build trust? I think there's so many different ways how to have a conversation that is meaningful. But I think the key element for me is, do you know why you're having this conversation and what's important? So you're heading in a sense of direction.
And I would make a distinction here between purpose and outcome, because a lot of times I saw that people kind of confuse these two. So purpose would be something like an intention or a desire to have and to address in the conversational space, where our outcome would be more of a result or something that is really visible and tangible and practical and maybe even measurable out of the conversation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you mention that, it also involves, usually I have in the communication model that I learned from the great communicator Virginia Satir, she liked to say that there are always three elements present. There's a me, there is a you, somebody I talk to, and that could be also inside, like, me having a conversation with myself. sometimes we have these little debates or little conflicts. And then there's a context. We talked about that another time before. There's a situation, there's a context where that takes place. So purpose is also for me as who am I speaking right now and with whom am I speaking? Am I speaking as a mother to my daughter? Am I speaking as the boss to my coworkers? What's the role? And within that role, within the hat that I put on, and I know who the other person is, what is then our shared purpose? Why are we having a conversation in general? Are we working for the same company? And that has a certain idea about where we're heading next. And I am a spokesperson for that and responsible for the outcome and the impacts, but also for me guiding and leading and mentoring. So it's for me also to be clear who's talking to who and why is it important that we talk together. And I think with that clarity, it helps to have conversations very efficient. It's really saving some time and energy and effort.
So somebody should prepare for that before entering the conversation, having this clear in their mind before engaging with the other people involved.
Yes, absolutely. I think 90% of the success is really preparation. And then the proof is in the pudding and in the eating. But I think if you're prepping yourself with these very simple orientation questions, who am I? Who am I talking to? Why am I having this conversation? What do I want to accomplish on a personal level, but also on a objective level? You know, what are the topics that we really want to touch and what is my part in this? And I like to usually ask either way my clients or also when I work with family members, what is the most possible purpose or intention you could participate in and what is the minimum? Kind of like what is part that I can bring in to the table so that we also feel this empowerment, even if I'm talking to other people and I cannot control or manipulate what they bring to the table, but I have a lot of power what I want to bring for myself to the conversation and how I can best bring all my skills and my personhood to this leading part.
This sounds a lot like a negotiation process, like preparing for negotiating. Okay, so the purpose, what do I want to get out of the conversation, and what would be an optimum or a desired outcome, the minimum, where's the no-go zone or anything in between, like having clarity upon those things. It may sound a bit transactional perhaps, but I think that having this clarity before and entering into the conversation, at least a few valid scenarios, can help a lot of times to direct the conversation in a meaningful way, and also for the other people, not just from the speakers or the I.
Yeah, I think you're right. It may sound a little transactional. And for me, the reality is the more I know what I want, the more I have a strong sense about myself in the conversation. And actually, from that point, it allows me to become more flexible around where the other person is coming from. So, in a very paradoxical way, I see the more clarity I have about myself, it then actually allows me to maybe like, you come from this place. Oh, I haven't thought about it this way. Let me consider that too. But I know very clearly where I want to head with this conversation. So now there may be room for, as you said, negotiation. And I do believe a really good, mature, good conversation to have is in the realm of negotiation, taking each other seriously and knowing we may have different purposes. That's why I'm saying role too. Who can at the end of the day also make the decision we're doing it this way? Because sometimes maybe somebody has to make a call and say, okay, we may not be on the same page, But for now, we're going to do it this way.
How about when the purpose of the conversation is to actually know the other person better, to discover more about the other person and not just get to a specific result that is pre-planned and is just a way to engage in opening a space for connection? How would that be different from the one when you have a clear agenda on what to get out of that conversation?
You may hear it, it's ringing a bell here in my context, because I think it really is something very important that you're saying. One is for me, an innate attitude to be really curious. And I actually have another symbol, which is the monocular glass, almost like a detective, and saying like, hey, let me find out more about you so that we can connect and get to know each other better. And it's actually leading us to the next letters, which are A, asking questions. To me, open question is the method of really getting to know somebody else better and better. And then the L is about listening. And I think in the sense, the most important skill is to active listen. I have a couples method. When I work with couples, I learned this from Harville Hendricks and Helen Hunt. They have a method where somebody speaks, and especially when a couple has been a little bit in a challenging place, they learn a skill to mirror back, to repeat what you heard, what you listened to from your partner about something they find desirable or challenging. And you try to be as much as possible in the words and the language of your partner. And the introduction to this is, let me check out if I got this right. What I heard you say is ... and then you fill in the blanks and complete the sentence of what you heard. And what we have then as a skill is to ask, is there more? Which is adding the curiosity. Tell me more, tell me more, tell me more about you. I really like to get to know more of what I have not understood yet, what I have not known yet. And you do it actually 3 times. And in the last round, you will repeat the full thing of what you heard, all 3, active listening and mirroring and repeating it back, so that the other person has a chance to say, yeah, you really got me right. We may be on the same page, on the same wavelength. It's a simple skill. It's more about awareness, alertness, awakeness, being present. And when that's present, it really helps the relationship to be nurtured for more getting to know each other.
And that's also a way also in the professional area for instance, for leaders to connect better with their teams and to check whether their messages and how their messages got across, and what impact do they have on the teamwork that they develop together. So it's also a way of connecting, getting to know better the people in the team, and also the leadership, of course, but also getting to an outcome that can be measured and seen in the real world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And, I think when you talk about teams, I think another element for me is important before we finish the conversation to summarize, like, what I said with the couples, like, let me mirror back what I heard you say as a summary. The same thing I will do with teams, where I say, okay, I'm going to summarize what we touched upon, what was really important, in like 3 to 5 bullet points. We agreed upon X, Y, Z now. Then let's talk about what will be the next steps so that we pick up the conversation and it becomes a continuous flow of getting to know each other. Sometimes I will funnily say it's like speed dating. You want to get to know each other as best as possible in a very quick time and exchange as much valuable information as possible.
Thank you for sharing that.
That was today's episode of our Art of Communication series. Let us know your opinion about the topics we touched, and make sure you share it with the people that would most benefit from listening to it. For not missing out on important topics for you, please subscribe to our channel so that you can get notified when new episodes are released. And also, in order to access our available resources for sustainable performance and leadership programs, please reach out or go to our website, avaperformance.com. We will provide you our full support. Until next time, stay curious, open, committed, and creative in discovering new ways to enhance your performance sustainably and be an evolutionary leader. And remember, the future starts today.